How'd you get unique jewels in SSF? This strategy has dropped me like a lot, like 10, 12 plus unique jewels. I guess that's a good sign that it's working. Like I've been getting tier 0s, I've been getting tier 1s, I've been getting unique jewels. Like this is definitely the best way I've found to farm uniques in SSF other than Blight, which to be fair, I don't know if Blight's hardcore friendly. I kind of feel like I should have dropped another tier 0 by now though, which is a good thing. Like I actually genuinely believe a tier 0 should have dropped by now. I just haven't had another one. Whoa! I got a binos! Oh, there you go. Just bitch and moan. There you go, boys. There you go. I told you. I told you I should have had a tier 0. Wait. I got a tier 0. Okay. I'm like, I haven't seen that before. What's that? Okay. Okay, it worked. Oh, well, Essential Sanguish. So I've had 2 tier 0s today. Woo! Okay. Literally, could have been a Mage Blood just now, chat. I'm gonna do a little explanation on how to farm this. This is... Don't know how useful this will actually be, but you can scale this up to Trade League, so maybe it'll be useful. But anyway, I'm gonna go over how you generate the maps, what scarabs you use, what atlas you use, how you can sustain doing this at SSF even, right? So you don't even have to trade necessarily, and how it synergizes with Abyss farming. So, let's get started with the basic strategy. So, one of the new farming strategies, not necessarily new, but really strong this league in particular, strategies is farming Abyss, right? Abyss of Edifice. This strategy, using 2 Abyss Scarabs and an Edifice Scarab, that's all you need, right? The other 2 Scarabs would be Risk and Softcore. For Hardcore, we run, what do you call it? Influencing of Hordes and Escalation. Not really required, but I don't know what else to run, really. But this strategy just so happens to drop a metric shit ton of Scarabs. As you can see, like, for SSF stash, considering I use these Scarabs, I have quite a bit of Scarabs, yeah? The question then becomes how to best use these Scarabs, right? And one of the things you should be looking to do is magic finding, right? Especially in SSF. Things like Mage Blood, Headhunter, Calandra's Touch, etc. These are really desirable uniques. So, what do? Well, we actually are running an Atlas strategy with Abyss. Maybe I can show you? Okay, I can't because I respec my Atlas. But basically, when we're running the Abyss Atlas, we have Titanic and Anarchy Scarabs ticked. Then we run Anarchy. Sorry, we run Anarchy of Gigantification times 2. I don't actually have one, unfortunately. I just ran them. But you run double Gigantification with 1 partnership, Titanic Scarab and Titanic of Legend. So it should look like Titanic Legend, Scarab, and, what do you call it? Partnership with double Gigantification. Then, with Map Device, with Anarchy, we'll give you an average of maybe 10 exiles per map. Sometimes Ruckus will spawn. Again, I'll show you my atlas real quick. Then, we run Ritual on top to allow us to respawn those gigantic exiles that spawn in the rituals, because when you kill the Gigantification and it starts to split into the mini exiles still get full loot. It's just like a quirk of Gigantification with Ritual, which essentially allows you to get hundreds of exiles per map, right? Because the Gigantifications just keep respawning and they keep splitting, right? Then, thanks to the Titanic and Titanic of Legend, with like 40 pack size maps, we're getting, and this is obviously getting scaled with map effect, but we're getting like 76 pack size on our maps. Now that's on top of 200 quantity, 130 rarity, right? And that's gonna scale with the Titanic Scarab here to give you a multiplier to your rarity and quantity. And then Titanic of Legends also makes the mobs just drop more loot, right? It's like a loot multiplier on top. Now, that's step 1, right? And just running just that, like if you get these nice 8 mod, which I'll explain how to get, 40 pack size maps with these Scarabs, you're gonna get tons of uniques, right? Just to give you some brief stats, 20 maps per tier 0. Okay, so pretty fucking good, right? Obviously mileage may vary in extremely small sample size, but just been talking to other people who are also running the strategy. You can even get way more than this, by the way. This is kind of like baseline, you can actually scale this in tier 16.5s and get way more. Like way more. Like it gets really, really ridiculous. I'll link this in the video in the chat, but just to show you like some of the loot explosions. So this is the Giga Advanced
I don't think loot, yeah.
hardcore trade version.
I mean, if you see like a mirror, you obviously loot it, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, it gets ridiculous depending on how you take it. That brings me to my second part of the strategy. So, as you can see, I'm no longer running that Gigantification strategy because I ran out. However, when you're running the Gigantic Exile rituals, occasionally you'll get 2 or more Gigantic Exiles to spawn in a ritual. Whenever you get 2 or more, you use a ritual vessel that you'll get farming the strategy, yeah? You use one of these bad boys to make this. Then, when you get 4 or more, right? 2 is still good, but when you get 4 or more, you can put it and replace the Gigantification and Anarchy of Partnership, yeah? Right? You take the same 8 mod 40 pack size maps, you still Anarchy, because why not? And you run this, and what this basically does is it takes those 4 Gigantic Exiles and respawns them, but now, because you don't need Anarchy to get the Exiles, you can take it further, even further beyond, and run Wisps. Wisps make the strategy just poo out infinite loot. That's exactly why that in that clip it was so insane. It's because Wisps give you currency, quantity, and rarity, and you can. This is where it gets really insane. Is you take it in 16.5s with a natural wildwood on top of this, and then you get an altar in the ritual, sorry, in the wildwood, called the Dark Gift, which gives another quantity and rarity stat on top. And then you take group play with like quantity, and it just gets ridiculous, as you saw. We have Exiles, Ghost, Quantity, Rarity, Ritual, and all the map effect. And obviously Exile Juice. So obviously, we have the Scabs, we have the Atlas. How do you actually get the maps themselves? So, as you can see, I have like a bunch of like these high juicy like maps ready to go. The way you get this is by using the Abyss Atlas, right? So pretty clever. You're actually using the same Atlas, but going back and forth. So you use that same Abyss Atlas, but you get a tier 7 originator map, right? One of these bad boys, okay? And you roll it for more maps. So you're looking for, it feels crazy to roll over like insane, like nice maps, but yeah, you want at least 100 more map multiplier, more the better. There we go. So I mean, I wouldn't run this, but just to show you, right? You get more maps, at least 100, more the better. Tier 7, what? Yeah. So the reason why you want it to be tier 7 is because I've found in my experience running above tier 7 does not drop you tier 7 maps. You want it to be tier 7 to get the most tier 7s back per map. And then you run Abyss of Edifice, Cartography of Escalation, right, to get more maps. And then, now this is optional, but I run Delirium, Scarab of Delusion to get more maps. And obviously Cartography of Corruption, right? And then last one can just be Abyss again. So you're just dropping one of these Abysses for one of these. So this last one is optional. You can either run an extra Abyss for more maps or Delirium. It's up to you. But you might be thinking, how do you even get an originator tier 7 map? Like, obviously they drop a bunch in tier 16 maps, but how do they actually drop in low tier maps? So the best way I've found to get these, because obviously, as you can see, I have 3 now, but the best way I've found is you just run naked regular tier 7 maps, and then occasionally you'll get those flower petals, which will drop one, a tier 7 city square with originator influence. But you can keep running these until you get a memory tear, right? And then the memory tear obviously will spawn as a tier 7, and you can just use it that way to jumpstart it. Because that first tier 7 originator map from Egon will give you enough maps that you can then just run Corrupted 8 mod maps until you get... you can just run the Corrupted 8 mod maps until you get natural tier 7 originator maps. So that's kind of how you do it. Anyway, like I said, 3 different Atlas strategies. Well, 4. There's technically 4 strats here. I'll go over it again. Step 1, farm Abyss, right, for scarabs. Step 2, farm until you get Originator tier 7 map rolled with map mod, so that you can get a bunch of maps, right? So you use the same strategy for both. The Abysses to get the scarabs and the maps. Then you run an Exile Atlas, right? Which I'll link all of this, obviously. Right? And that Exile Atlas will give you vessels. And then the last strategy, again, just using the same Exile strategy, Exile Atlas, you use Bloodfield Vessels instead of Anarchy Scarabs. And that final step is going to give you the most peak loot. So, Flash for Abyss Atlas so people see the map nodes. Yeah. So, worth pointing out, while you're running Abyss, these memory tear nodes are really nice to jumpstart the memory tear in the tier 7s. And these maps as well are nice for increased chance for them to have memory influence. That's one more thing that's worth pointing out is when you do run the Originator maps, like specifically the memory tear, the tier 9 and 10 and 11 maps don't really drop you many city squares. So you should really only focus on juicing the first 1 or maybe 2, and then just delete the others, because I dropped something like 46 maps in my first tier 7 Originator map, then like 15 in my next, maybe 20, and then after that, basically I didn't drop any maps. I think once you get too high tier, you no longer drop the tier 7 maps anymore. They just don't drop. They're dropping too high tier, and it vastly affects your map sustain. So anyway, like I said, that's how I'm farming. I've got like, as you can see, I've got like Ancestral Vision, I've got Fire Song, Intuitive Leap, Inspired Learnings, Might of the Meek, Lionized Fall, Storm Shrouds, Unnatural Instincts. Like I'm dropping like all the rare jewels. I've got 4 tier 0s now. We've got Soul Taker. I guess I should show them. It's a pretty cool collection, actually. But I've got Soul Taker, Moroi Urki, Essentia Sanguis, Bino's Kitchen Knife. So I haven't actually had luck with my tier 0s, but I have had 4 of them. So hopefully I start getting some of the good ones, like Mage Blood, but that's where we're at now. I guess final thing to point out. You do need rarity to get loot from this. So, I obviously don't have any rarity on my character. You can run it that way. You can just get a gold flask and magic find gear, and that will work really well. But obviously, this league, we have access to Mercenaries. So, for the Wisp maps, for hardcore, I'm running this, but normally I run this setup. So, I currently have it set up this way, where I have Southbound and no ability to freeze monsters. And so, basically, this means that I cannot kill monsters. I can only bring them down to 1 life. And then my Mercenary can cull or just do damage and get the kill that way. So that's option number 1. And my Merc currently has 270 rarity plus 45 on the helmet from the unique mod. So 315 rarity total. So the other option is to run Gravebind. This is a pair of gloves that counts the mercenary kills as... So your kills as the mercenary kills. So nearby enemies killed by anyone count as being killed by you. You put this on the Merc. And that way, whenever the mercenary is near, let's say, an exile and it dies, it will count as the killer, which will allow you to then run rarity gear that way. So that's another option. So that way you don't have to deal with Southbound, basically, and removing all sources of freeze. Yeah, worth pointing out, though, very important, the radius on the kill is very low. I believe it's like 4 meter radius or something like that. It's not... Well, I can't remember how big it is exactly, but it's small enough that you will kill stuff out of range. So what you need to do is you need to make sure you're running a Striker Merc, because that has really good AI that rushes into enemies, like it runs on top of them. So make sure you're using a melee Merc, not a ranged one. Like this is a kineticist, it wouldn't work very well. It would be kind of scuffed. So yeah. Anyway, that covers just about everything. In terms of the rarity gear, just like Goat Ventors or Perkles has rarity on it, rarity on the boots, gloves, helmet. I'm missing rarity on my gloves, which would be nice. I could even get rarity on the belt too, but obviously I value the survivability of comms binding a lot. But you can get more rarity than I have now. I just don't have insane gear, SSF, right? So obviously, it's favorite city square when you're farming city square and when you're trying to get corrupted city squares. Also, make sure when you are farming city squares that you have singular focus to make it more likely to be city square, right?
Steel, thank you for the scuffed version of the strut. I'm going to bussy my mine off now. Sakarabs will fall from the skies. Also, Steel, the snake, It got me!
That's correct.
It got me in the dick! I need you to suck the venom out! Steel, I need you to suck the venom out of my dick!